So why do we need 30 to 45 days to close your loan?
I can name that tune in 28 days.
Let's do it. Hello everybody, my name is Barry Horvath and this is Moving Forward TV with your local market update.
And I am DeLynn Gaston. Thank you so much for joining us. So one of the questions, I know I jumped right in again, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Hi Barry, how are you?
Good, how are you, DeLynn?
Good.
All right, great. Let's get on with the show.
I know. Sometimes we just like, I don't know. So we're both kind of like half asleep this morning. I think that's what it is.
I'm pretty awake.
We're just not chatty.
No.
But anyway. But we do have a really good show and a full show. So I do want to kind of like jump right in and get started. So we get one of the biggest questions that I get from a lot of our real estate partners. They'll call us up. I'm writing up an offer. How many days do you need?
All of them. That's what I was saying. All of them.
All of the days. How many days do you need? So, and we always, for the most part, everyone is saying the same thing, right? Depending upon what lender you go to, 30 to 45 days. And I know some of the credit unions and the banks and stuff are actually even at 60 days right now. So it really kind of depends. But we figured we would kind of go through why it takes 30 to 45 days.
And we're talking about the purchase market because refinances can actually take
longer.
Longer because I hate to say they're not a priority. The purchase business is always going to be the priority.
Always.
In the lending world. So,
yeah.
And I've heard institutions that are 75 to 90 days, even 120 days right now on a refinance. So you might save a 32nd of a point, but if you got to wait 4 months, how much should you really save? That's my point. Okay, next subject.
You should hear him when I'm proud of you. You actually cut that short. Yeah. Normally he rants on that for a good 5 minutes. He'll come into my office and literally rant on that subject for like 5 minutes. Okay, thank you, Barry. I already know that.
You know what? I have to give a shout out to you and myself. We give people good, sound, solid advice. We tell them the truth.
Yes, we do.
I don't sugarcoat it at all.
No.
You sugarcoat it a little, but you tell them the way it is.
Yeah.
You're a little sweeter than me that way. I'm just like, matter of fact, hey, that's not going to work, okay? That's just not going to work. Yes, it will. These are the documents I'm going to give you. That's all you get. Then you're not dealing with me.
They'll say something like, well, ABC lender told me that it would work. The other people that I talked to said that this was fine. They didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for that.
Why do you need it?
Okay.
Okay,
Good luck with that.
Good luck. It's going to come up. Okay?
And it comes down, and then all of a sudden they're not closing on time because guess what? The thing that we told them 6 weeks earlier, they didn't do.
So today we decided we are going to gingerly, gently, gracefully walk you through the entire mortgage process.
So just pretty much erase the first 5 minutes of the show here where we ranted a little bit.
I know. We're going to walk you through what really happens behind closed doors that you don't know about. You have no clue. You're just sitting at home thinking that somebody's preparing a package for you to come sign at closing. And
why does it take so long? Why does it take so long? I can remember many years ago when I built a house thinking the same thing. On the house, they clear the lot, the foundation goes down, and then they put the walls up, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, and all this happens within the first month, and I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be done really quickly.
Yes.
Because then all the inner workings, and I think that's a pretty good analogy I just came up with.
Or now I got you all the documents you initially requested. When are we closing?
Thus the foundation, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think I kind of like that. I'm going to roll with that one. He doesn't know this. I'm going to roll with that
Okay,
one.
you do
Building a house. So it's kind of like building a house. It looks like everything is all done, and then there's a lot that goes on inside of it. So you get your foundation down, you get your walls up, and you think, oh, this house is going to be done in a week.
Right.
But then no, the electrical work has to go in, and the wiring, and then the sheetrocking and the taping and.
Excuse me, you need to put the electrical work in before the sheetrock. That's what you said, right? I just want to make sure you had the right order.
I did the right order.
Okay, all right.
I built a house, trust me. It took many months. Anyway, so doing a mortgage is similar. So we get the step one. Step one.
Step one.
Let's start with step one. Step one is our pre-approval.
Yes.
This is the foundation. This is where we lay the foundation. This is where we talk to the person, ask a lot of very good questions and detailed questions. And just for what it's worth, I had somebody recently, a realtor partner, refer me a client to talk to, and the realtor told me they've already been approved at Quicken Loans for $240,000.
I love that.
Not even 5 minutes into this conversation, I realize this person's not qualified at all. They had a major change in their job from W-2 to 1099.
That's a roadblock.
That's a huge roadblock. That is a huge.
But I'm on the same job. You know what? And it happened to a lot of people during COVID.
During COVID, and that's exactly what happened in this person.
Because companies are like, well, we're unsure. You know, we don't know the stability. We're going to save on taxes. We're just going to move you a 1099 for now. We're going to let you keep working, but you know, you're going to be a 1099.
So it was a major change, and in the end, this person didn't qualify for anything. Literally, they needed a co-signer to do anything. So,
but the other lender,
the other lender apparently didn't do step
ABC
one.
Lending said they were good.
I already named them. Pretend I didn't name them. Okay, so back up and erase that part of the show too.
So we're going to get sued for slander.
It's the truth. I'm just saying what my realtor sent me an email that said they've been approved by this bank.
So next week's show will be about litigation. We will have attorneys as guest stars. They're going to bail us out. They're going to cover our tracks for everything we said that was the truth. Here we go again, talking about the truth. All right, keep moving.
So keep moving on. So as part of the pre-approval part of this, we have to really ask a lot of questions, and this is where we poke and prod a lot, and then we send them a list of stuff that we need. This is really important. So even up front, we're trying to get all of their documents together. That's what makes it go. I was telling Barry when we were talking about doing this show and the time frame, 30 to 45 days, I'm very proud that we just did a loan in 3 weeks. It was like 23 days or something like that we did the loan in. And I'm excited about that. But that's because the foundation was laid in the beginning and the customer did what they were supposed to do, giving us all of the documents, complete documents and things like that. And that's what makes the big difference.
Well, and people are like, you asked for something on Wednesday. Yeah, when I'm going to get up in the attic this weekend and I'll find that.
Right.
You can't do that.
I have to go to my storage unit and...
you can't. If you're buying a home, you need to be prepared to get whatever you need, because if you don't get what you need, there's a backup offer waiting to buy that house.
Especially now.
Yeah, and the pressure's on the buyer and the lender and the realtor. We feel your pain. We know what's happening. So when we do the pre-approval, step one, it's not just about running credit. Just because your credit's good doesn't mean you qualify. Can I say that again? Just because you have an 800 score doesn't mean you qualify. There's so many roadblocks that can occur. So that's why we ask for all these documents. Do we need your tax returns? Not necessarily. But are we going to ask for them? Yeah, because we're trying to figure out things ahead of time that may come up later. We didn't know you had a Mary Kay business last year that you wrote off $40,000 of expenses in, even though you're on a W-2 job for 30 years. That Mary Kay business that you wrote off all the businesses, or that one-time hit that you did on a stock loss, that can show up on your tax returns. Or you took a loss on a property that was on your tax returns. Your transcripts have to match your whatever you put on your application.
Right.
Okay, I'm done with my rant. Sorry.
No,
So-
that's powerful stuff. That is absolutely all good. And then, so, the other things is, once we do that, receive all the documents, like Barry said, we have to look at those things and make sure that they're going to
Oh,
match.
you forgot to tell us
That's
you
right.
were divorced 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's the other one.
It doesn't matter. We need to know about it. We need that divorce decree. I don't care if it was 20 years ago. I don't care if you haven't spoke to her in 20 years.
We've had people stall on giving us their tax returns because they didn't want us to see that they're paying alimony.
Yes.
Writing $17,000 a year in alimony off on their tax returns. You know what? That's going to be an issue.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's not in writing. Doesn't matter if that's not what it says in the divorce decree. It's going to come up.
It's going to come up. And so that's what we try, really encourage people to be very upfront and honest. This is what I said. If people tell me everything, don't try and blindside me. Tell me everything so that I know the proper way to submit this into underwriting, because not always is it going to be a roadblock. We have ways of getting around. We have, what do you call those detours? We have detours. I'm jumping from like roadblocks, to building a new house. We have detours that we know how to make. So be honest with your loan officer. Tell them everything up front. They are there to help you. That's my soapbox.
Bottom line.
line.
And a good experienced one will know what
Up
pitfalls.
front.
Yeah.
Up front.
And I don't mean to be negative, but
no.
we tell people the truth. You're going to need this. It's going to come up. It'll come back and bite you. I don't care if you got a 2% fixed rate. Was there points on it? Oh, that's another show.
That's another. Boy, we're just hitting all of them today. All right, let's move on to step 2.
Well,
so the bottom of step 1 says
Hold on.
Yeah, see.
We're on step 1 still. You got your pre-approval done. Now you got your
We have a lot of steps.
You got your pre-approval done. We got all the documents. We analyzed your income. We analyzed your debts. We ran your credit. We know how much you pay in alimony. We know how much you pay in child support. We know that you're getting fixed income, whatever it may be. We know what your commissions were.
See that clock that's ticking?
We know that you got the commissions for at least 24 months to be able to count them. We know that you got overtime for 24 months so that we could count it. Doesn't matter that your paycheck last week is for $1,000 and it's normally $500. We can't count that extra money if you don't consistently get it for 2 years. Okay, next step. Get your pre-approval letter, and in our system, you get to be put in our quick qual system, which lets you generate your own payments and pre-approval. All right, my show. Now you're ready to submit a solid offer.
Solid offer.
When we say solid in this market, it better be solid.
Yes.
You're not going to steal a house.
No, it's crazy right now. Somebody, just as a side note here, like we haven't side noted all through the show. As a side note, one of my realtor partners was telling me yesterday that she had a client call her down in Clearwater, went to look at a house at an open house, and there were signs on other people's front lawns saying, "Make me an offer."
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yep. Took a picture of it and sent it to her. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
People know it's a crazy market right now. It's a crazy market, and they know people.
You know what? If you're paying fair market value, because we're going to appraise a house, the way the appreciation is, you're going to have equity next year.
Yes.
Remember that. The market's going up. You will probably have equity next year. And even if you paid a little above today's market, it's an appreciating asset. It's supply and demand. All right, we're on to step 2.
So on to step 2, the application. So here's where you found a home. Now we started. So what is going on in the 30 days that we're doing it? Remember, we have 30 days to cover here.
Yep.
In a short period of time now, because we ranted. Sorry. So in that 30-day period. So now we have all of your documents, but it might have taken you a couple of weeks to find that house. So we definitely need updated stuff.
A couple of weeks.
Sometimes longer.
Sorry.
So we're going to start right away with reviewing the application with you to see if there's any changes. Don't change your jobs during this time. I always tell people don't quit your day job. Don't move money all over the place. Don't open new accounts. Don't close other accounts. Don't change anything in your financial picture, because this is where we need to review everything and make sure that it is still the same as what we did on the pre-approval. We need updated pay stubs and updated bank statements, obviously, because if it's taken you a couple of weeks or a couple of months, whatever it might be, I now need the latest of all those things. So there's still stuff that is coming into us. So don't ever shred things or put them away if you're in the midst of buying a house. Keep everything in a folder, electronic folder, or a real folder, but keep things there. So once it comes in, the steps that we have to go through is the very first thing we have to do, and we have a lot of realtors saying, we need the appraisal right away. Was the appraisal ordered on day one? No, the customer has to sign and accept the application first. So the very first thing we have to do you ever see a mortgage application these days? It's this thick.
Yeah, the new IRLA.
The new IRLA is 9 pages long itself, which is the application form. And then there's another 30 or 40 pages that have to be signed by the borrower. So that's called the disclosure package. That's step one. We can't order an appraisal until they sign that. So we generate all of those documents and we send them to them electronically to try and speed things up. Although sometimes on some older people, it's not as speedy as we would like. Because we then have to set them up a Gmail account because they might not have one. Yeah. Anyway, so those are the things that we're all doing on the front end with the application to get things rolling.
And then, of course, the borrower, we may have pre-qualified them 6 months ago, 4 months ago. We're going to need updated pay stubs from them, updated bank statements from them to see where they're getting the money for their down payment. So all of that's going on in step 2 during the application. And that's assuming that the offer was accepted.
And then moving on to step 3. So on to step 3, once the borrower signs the application and electronically signs it or physically, depending upon how we had to do it, and they've provided their updated bank statements and things like that, the appraisal is ordered, the 4506 transcripts, that's the IRS transcripts. We have to verify what they sent to the IRS is what they gave to us, the same thing.
DeLynn, you don't have enough fingers to do this.
I know. We have to order the appraisal. That's when the appraisal is ordered, the title work, things like that.
Titles are ordered, verifications are ordered.
That's when all of that stuff is ordered, and it goes into our processor. Now, the processor has a job. We're on to step 4. See how we jumped right there? Yep. They have a job to do. So it doesn't go right to the underwriting. Keep in mind, well, you have all of the stuff. Why doesn't it just go right to the underwriter? No, because the processor's job is to verify everything that the borrower gave us. So she's waiting for that transcript to come back from the IRS to make sure it matches the tax returns. She has to.
And then the flood cert shows it was in a flood zone.
There you go.
But the realtor told me it wasn't in a flood zone. Well, we show it to be in one.
Right.
The flood maps change. That never happens. Sorry.
Roadblock. When we have to send out for verifications of employment, again, to verify. Sadly, and I hate to say this, guys, but the real estate crash of the mid-2000s is what's done all of this, because now no one trusts anyone. So everything that the borrowers give us, we have to verify that it is accurate. Thus, verifying with the IRS, verifying with the Social Security Administration, verifying with their employer that this is the accurate numbers and everything, and the underwriters are looking at all of these things. So when we send out for a verification of employment and it comes back, if it doesn't match the pay stubs,
we got a problem.
Or there's something, we have a problem. We have a problem. There's something in here that's hiding.
Or you've been on this job for 6 months and your prior job for 5 years, even though it's the same line of work and we can count it, we got to find that prior employer. Oh, the prior employer is no longer in business. They had to shut down due to COVID. Now what do we do?
Exactly. Ooh. All of these little things come up. Or, they tell us, yes, I've been on my job 2 years. Well, it comes back, the verification that they've been on their job
11 years, 11 months.
For
1 year, 11 months.
1 year, 11 months. Guess what? That's a problem. That's an issue, and now we have to go back and get another. And sometimes this stuff doesn't come until later in the process. And people say, well, shouldn't you know this? Yes, but if that's why we say, what did we say in step 1? Be honest with your loan officer. Be as precise as possible and provide as much information as possible, because we know these pitfalls that could happen, and we're trying to alleviate those.
Can we go to step 4? I want to go to processing.
Yes. we're on processing.
Go ahead, keep ranting.
So no, so
You're
this
so
is, I am. This is all part of processing.
I know.
So
You're so
so
passionate.
that's what the processor is doing, is understanding and verifying all of this stuff so that she can present it correctly to the underwriter.
She's reviewing everything.
Every little
And
thing
then
and
she
verifying, and that takes a couple of weeks to happen.
And she's doing fraud alerts, and all of a sudden,
That's the other thing that comes up.
and we find they own another property
Up
out of
in
state,
Ohio.
but there's no mortgage on it. Why did you have to know about it? Well, because those taxes and or insurance count into your debt ratio.
Yep.
Hello, you got to tell us about it. Well, my name is, you know what, I gave that to my son. Well, it doesn't matter. Your name's still on the title.
Yeah. Or, oh, that was my parents' house and me and my 4 siblings inherited it, and it's all of our house. It's not my house. Guess what? Because it's part yours, it shows up. We've got to know about it. So again, back to step 1, honest and complete with your loan officer up front.
Wait, you made payments to this credit card that's not on your credit report.
This is another one that comes up a lot.
On the 2 years bank statements.
How
on the
come
2
you're
months
making
you
a
sent.
payment for the month's bank statements that we're looking at? How come you're making a payment for, $250 to Capital One every month?
Yeah, where's that?
And that doesn't, Capital One, you don't have a Capital One card on your credit report. How come?
All
What's
right.
going on? These are the things that we run into.
After everything's reviewed, now finally, it's all submitted to underwriting. We're on step 5, folks, number 5. Does it feel like it's been 28 days yet? It feels longer to me already. I don't know about you.
And this is after all the roadblocks that we've had to jump over and find detours around. It finally makes it to the underwriter.
And then what does she do with it?
She tears it apart like a kid at
And we're
Christmas,
assuming-
tearing
wait,
apart
wait,
his
wait.
Christmas presents.
Hold on. It could be a man.
He or she tear it apart like they're a kid at Christmas, because that's their job.
Right.
Their job is to make sure that everything we've submitted fit federal guidelines. The Federal National Mortgage Association, they're the ones with all the rules, guys, known as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They make all the rules that we, the lenders, have to follow.
And you know what's so funny is that most people don't understand is that almost 99% of the lenders you go through have to follow the same rules. So if ABC Lending tells you you don't need that, I would check it out, because we all have to follow the same rules. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are your end buyers of 99% of your loans out there. Unless you're getting a portfolio loan in a small community local bank that may have their own set of rules, everyone else has to follow the same rules. Just saying. So, for you to say, my bank didn't ask for that, well, I'm just telling you that may or may not be,
Right.
it may not be true. So be leery of that.
So after the
If it
underwriter...
smells like a loan,
Yeah. So after the underwriter tears everything apart, puts the loan back together, realizes it meets all Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac guidelines, all federal guidelines, and she issues what's called a conditional approval. So now we're probably about between, again, depending upon how good step 1 was done, we are somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks into the whole process. And the underwriter issues what's called a conditional approval. That means, yes, you're approved, subject to. One of the things due to COVID, we always have to get an updated pay stub right through to closing. We always have to make sure that, that deposit that they give up front, their earnest money deposit that they gave to the title company up front, hopefully you as the realtor told them, do not give it in cash. Do not give it in a money order. Write a check or send a wire. Those are the only 2 verifiable ways to do this.
and send a wire to the proper title company. Do not send it to Nigeria inadvertently. It happens. Fraud's on the rise. Be leery. Verify the wire
And that again is a
information.
whole nother show.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
So there's a couple little conditions that we always have to get. The underwriter requires the last minute little updated things, or maybe when they sent us that bank statement showing their, $1,000 or $2,000 earnest money deposit check clearing their bank account. Right before that, a $5,000 deposit went in, and there's no verification of that. And they didn't tell us about that. And we're just finding out about that.
So it's your fault.
3 weeks into the process. So I call them up. Hey, where'd this $5,000 come from? Oh, I sold my motorcycle. Never told us you were going to sell your motorcycle. So we have to verify these things. Now there's a whole bunch of more paperwork that we have to get to make sure that happens. These are some of the pitfalls and roadblocks that we run into and why it takes so long to do the loan sometimes.
All right, so all conditions are finally met and cleared. The borrower now reviews the final closing disclosure, which you will get 3 days prior to closing.
That's the CD.
Yes.
All of our real estate partners out there, you guys know about the CD.
And then the borrower actually signs the closing documents now. Hallelujah. And then the loan funds. And then you get your keys. It's so exciting. It's
fun, and it's a happy day.
And it's been 77 days since we started this process. Okay?
Again, if step one, way in the beginning, if step one was done really completely, and if we have a borrower who is right on top of things and give us, you can see why it takes so long. I like to get that updated, that cleared bank statement showing the earnest money check clearing as early in the process as possible, because once we verify the assets and everything, I don't want to look at bank statements anymore. I got to be honest with you guys, that is probably the most scrutinized part of the entire mortgage process, is when people move money around. Every time they move it to this account or this checking account, savings account, investment account.
We have to source it.
We have to track it. We have to follow the money every single time, and that is the most frustrating thing for buyers and for us.
We did 6 steps, okay? We didn't even mention getting insurance. We didn't talk about getting a home inspection. While they're not,
there's so much to
that's
it.
not part of the mortgage process, because we don't need a home inspection. We don't underwrite the insurance, but we do need the insurance. So there's other steps that are happening. And if there's corrections that need to be made per the home inspection with agreements between the buyer and seller, that can be delayed. Maybe there's an old electrical panel. Maybe there's, who knows? The sky's the limit. Maybe there's termites.
The best advice that we can give is make sure you educate your buyers to be upfront and honest with everything. Don't hide anything.
Yes.
And efficient, right on top of it, just giving it to us immediately.
All right. Let's carry on, because we're out of time. And I want to give you an important upcoming date of April the 13th. It's our next Lunch and Learn via Zoom. Make sure you can check our website, closemyloantrinity.com. You can go on Facebook. You can register. We're doing Pasco County down payment certification process. So,
because yay, Pasco County has money again for down payment.
We can offer down payment money.
It's been a long time.
To help your people buy a home. Okay? It's out.
As long as they're in Pasco County.
April 13th, 11:30, make sure you log in. And I also want to remind you that West Pasco Business Association has money available to help with your rental people suffering from COVID here in Pasco. So rent utilities,
and
go to www.wpba.biz, check it out. Thanks, everybody.
.biz, remember. Thanks for watching. We are Today and Every Day.
Moving forward.
See you next week.
Have a great week, everybody.